So I've been the strategic communications specialist here at Penn State Wilkes-Barre for going on 6 years this September. I got the job of strategic communications specialist when I first moved to Pennsylvania. I had lived in Ohio for a while after college, and I moved out here to the Back Mountain area. This was one of the first jobs I applied for and was super excited to get it. So in full disclosure, I've never had a position at an agency, so I can't speak very proficiently to what they do at an agency. But I have been in different fields. I've been in retail and also in food services in the marketing communications field. So what I think of as an insider job versus an agency, from what I know, what I've heard, is that we are focused solely on Penn State Wilkes-Barre in the inside position, or in the food service industry, you're focused solely on that restaurant. Where an agency, they have multiple customers, multiple clients, multiple different projects that they're constantly working on for different people. So they have a certain level of organization they need to keep up in order to meet deadlines for different customers and to be adaptive to those different customers, where we focus on Penn State. And while I do have different projects and different deadlines to meet for Penn State, it's a little easier to keep one focus versus spreading out my focus amongst different subject topics. Right. Writing is the core thing that I do at my job every day, whether it's emails, press releases, different communication for the website. It can be very informal or it can be very formal. I write remarks for our new chancellor. I'm constantly proofing things that he's putting in front of me. Our development office just recently had a flyer that I wrote content for. So I would say writing is consistent, day in, day out. Social media, everything needs content, and so everything is about the writing and the proofing that goes along with that. How do I keep it fun? The students keep it fun for me here, which is nice to be able to interact with the students, whether it's coming into a classroom and speaking to them, whether it's just going to different clubs and organizations. I often get invited by different clubs and organizations to just come and sit in, and if they're doing a fundraiser, they look for input, or they might look to me for some contacts out in the community that I have. So the students really make it fun for me. A couple of years ago, I had a student who actually bought crayons and a coloring book and established a coloring station in my office. And he would tell other students about it and say, you can go up there and you can hang out and she won't bother you. And so I did. I had students that would come up and they'd color, and I have pictures hanging on my walls as a result. So. My workspace is very laid back. I have a couch in my office. A lot of my coworkers tend to come in and lay down on the couch midday, usually right after the lunchtime lull. But I keep it very casual. I often sit on the floor. I have lots of different area rugs in my office that I'll switch in and out. I'm often on the floor with my laptop or sitting on the couch. If I have an intern, their office is my couch, so they work directly from there. I have pictures that students have colored me on the walls. I have thank you cards from interns and different letters and things that they've sent me. And then I have toys. I have like the McDonald's and Burger King toys all across a buffet next to my desk. I got that inspiration when I was in high school. My study hall advisor actually had a collection on his entire desk. And so it was one of those things, we all kind of took it away that, that was fun. And that was something that it made your workspace less pretentious, less uptight, and it made people at ease. As soon as they walked in, it gave them a talking point to say, oh, is that a Pokemon on your desk there? Do I have daily habits at work? Yes, I do. At the end of the day, my biggest pet peeve is a messy desk. So at the end of the day, everything gets put into a drawer or a file or somewhere, because when I walk in the morning, I want a nice clean space to start my day. Outside of that, I don't really have a lot of daily habits at work, just kind of settling in the morning and saying hi to everybody on the floor and catching up and reading emails and things like that. I have a lot of long days at work, and when it is from sunup to sundown, it's usually because I have some sort of event going on after work. I'm heavily involved in the community on behalf of the university, so a lot of it is attending events. It is event season currently. The summertime becomes very busy event season, so there's usually at least one or two a week. So my day starts very early. I am usually getting ready for the whole day, knowing that I will not be back to my house for 12, 13 hours. I'm here working for 8 hours and then quickly doing my Superman change into another outfit and heading to an event where I'm very fortunate to be involved in the community. So I do actually enjoy these events, and it doesn't feel like work. So in an inside position, you really are a master of many trades, because you don't just do one thing every day. My day is different constantly, day in, day out. I am not sitting behind a desk doing the same thing for 8 hours, which makes it a great job, but it makes it very difficult as well. You're always doing more with less. Budgets are constantly, especially in the educational world, they're constantly dependent upon your customer, your consumer, which for us would be students. And it's difficult. It's very difficult to take your budget every year and try and you know what you need to do, and you need to piece it out into the budget, and you need to fit it into boxes and figure out how you're going to reach your consumer. How are you going to reach, we have several stakeholders here. We have students, we have the community at large, we have the media, we have the academic community. We have to reach all of them. And when you have a budget that's, X amount of dollars, how do you take that X amount of dollars and multiply it into all of those boxes and fairly and adequately reach out to all those different stakeholders? And it's a challenge every day to be creative and to be able to do those things and to try and get the best value out of everything we do. In addition, because you're constantly working for different departments, you're constantly working with different stakeholders, there is a certain level of organization you need to have, and there's also a certain level of patience you need everybody else to have with you, because everybody's project is important to them, and I understand that. My projects are important to me, but I have 5 people whose projects are important to them, and they all want them on the same day, and I'm only one person, and I can only work so many hours in a day. And sometimes you just can't meet the deadlines that everybody needs. And so you do have to have a great two-way communication with the people you're working with to explain to them, I need some flexibility here. How can we work through this? I know this is important to you and it's important to me, but let's work through this together and figure out how we come up with the best product. Because that's the other thing, you never want to shortchange somebody. And then I think my other big challenge would be the media in this area. We're lucky in our area. We actually support 2 daily papers, which when I moved here I thought was pretty much unheard of. I'm originally from Chicago. We support 2 daily papers there, but it's Chicago. So I thought it was absolutely ludicrous, 2 daily papers. But we also are part of a consortium of 5 colleges in this area and universities. It's the academic capital in this area is very concentrated in this area, and we're all vying for space with the media. We all want Andy Mihalchek to come cover our events. We all want to be written up on the front page of the Times Leader. But they only have so much space too. And so really being able to work with them and develop relationships with not only our advertising reps there, but also individual reporters, and really making an effort to reach out to them, that takes up a lot of time because you want everything to be fairly covered. You want the summer youth camp to have the same sort of coverage that the Students for Justice who are delivering packages to recovering heroin addicts get. You don't want one to get more weight than the other. Everybody deserves to have their story told. So handling crises at Penn State Wilkes-Barre kind of varies. It depends on the level of the crises that we are currently looking at. This past semester, we did have a student pass away, unfortunately. That was handled much differently than last year when we had a bomb threat on campus. The level of the crises kind of dictates the protocol at which we go about handling it. I'm very lucky because I have a lot of really good colleagues at University Park who are always willing to step in and help. When we did have the bomb threat last year, I was running around like a crazy person. I had media on campus. I had students, faculty, and staff asking me questions. We were trying to clear the building that the threat was made in. There was all sorts of stuff happening. I could not put out a statement. I didn't have time to sit behind my desk and put out a statement. But I was lucky enough to be able to call University Park. They said, what's going on? They put out a statement for me. They took phone calls for me, and they only filtered through phone calls to me that required my knowledge of the situation, which was perfect. So we're very lucky in that aspect that we have all of the resources of Penn State at our disposal. And I did have my colleagues at the other campuses that are close by as well say to me, do you need us? Do you need anything? Is there anything we can do? So it really kind of depends on the crises. I know that's not a great answer, but it kind of depends on the crises. The biggest thing is to just stay calm. There is nothing that cannot be handled. It may not be handled in a way that it may be that a building burned down, but it's handled. A fire team will come and put the fire out, and yes, we lost the building, and that's unfortunate, but no student got hurt. It's handled. Those are things that can all be taken care of. Things can be replaced. So when we have crises, it's just about staying calm and really looking logically at the situation. What's required? What is needed? Is a whole team of crisis communicators needed here on campus? Is the crisis team that we have put together on campus that includes security and maintenance and the administration, is that required? Or is it something that a small conversation needs to be had between a director, myself, and the chancellor? So it really just kind of depends on the situation, and we move forward with the proper steps and the proper protocol from there. So any student who's considering any sort of PR position, I would say the best thing to do would be to get involved. Get involved in the community, get involved in PRSSA, get involved in all sorts of organizations that you can, and start making connections. Start talking to people, really branch out, because you have no idea. An agency job, they kind of come along regularly, but an inside job, people often stay in inside jobs for a while. So it's all about who you know. And it's all about, do you know that so-and-so is retiring at the end of this year and her job is going to be open after 25 years. So making those connections and really speaking to people and getting the experience. I had an intern who actually came back 3 times for an internship. The first time she did it, it was classroom credit. The second 2 times, it was just because she wanted more experience. She wanted to meet more people in the community. She wanted to do more things and really be able to build her portfolio of work and say, yes, I did social media. Yes, I did write press releases. Yes, I know about photography. She wanted to make sure she had that depth, so when she went out into the work world, she was able to tell people, I can handle this. I've been there, I've done it, I know what I'm doing. So I would say that's my biggest advice. Get involved and make connections.